Hi everybody. I just wanted to make a quick video. This is concerning my V2K. I've been making videos on this for years, and long story short, I just wanted to go ahead and, I'm going to put it out there that I just recently had a massive grade 2 meningioma removed out of my head. They didn't get all of it. It's going to continue to grow back because apparently it's growing near my brainstem. So it's impossible to get all of it out. So it will just keep growing. I have to start receiving radiation here shortly. But I did want to touch on the fact that it's ironic because I have implants in my head now. There's a whole list of them on my chart and my app having to do with my hospital visits and things like that. So I have a head full of, medical stuff. But anyway, touching on that, I want to reiterate the fact that there are some people that I just have decided that I cannot be around. I'm going to have this tumor growing in my head until I die. And part of what makes the tumor in my head grow fast is the pressure in my head changing. And stress will bring a change in the pressure in my head. If you can't see, my eyes are dark. I'm not sleeping very well. There's a whole wealth of other issues that are going on. But there are some people, due to health concerns, that I have decided that I cannot interact with because it is a health issue. And this is what's funny, is that since this has all started, this is the Frey effect. If you have to, depending on who you have to explain it to, are the terms that you use. How much they are able to understand. How much they already know about science, and if they know how, frequencies work and resonance, things like that. Okay, and so I just want to touch on that there's been an entire situation in my household that while I was laying in the hospital with my head sewn and stapled shut, that there were people in my house that were not supposed to be here. And there were things that went on concerning stuff being taken out of my house that, they weren't supposed to be here to begin with. And they took advantage of the situation. And there was nothing I could do about it. I had to sit there. I watched the cameras at my house and took screenshots the entire time of what's going on. And so anyway, I get home, and this is after almost being in the hospital for 2 months. I got to come home in between, and then I had a severe infection. I incurred a severe infection, and ended up, it got in my blood, it was in my face, everything. So anyway, long story short, based on the sole fact that you took advantage of me while I was in a hospital bed, and you cannot be trusted, so therefore, being the type of person that you are, I cannot interact with you anymore. And I think that is a very healthy way to approach it. You don't have to explain anything to anybody. Okay? They're clearly, you are not a thought in their head. They're going to do what they want to do. But having said that, I just wanted to let everybody know. It's funny because the top contenders for putting me in whatever program this is, or I don't know what it is, and it doesn't affect my life like it did anymore, which is why I have stopped making videos almost altogether. But these are the people that will pay to take somebody to court to get their way. It's not, because the judicial system doesn't operate on a moral basis. And these are immoral individuals. They are. But now that they're in my house, it's criminal. So anyway, and like I said, it's a domino effect. If you cause me to be stressed out and it causes the pressure in my head to go up, which incidentally makes the tumor in my head grow, it's likely that it could be cancerous and it will kill me, which is an indirect way of putting an end to somebody. And anyway, so in order to protect my life, I cannot be around certain people. But hearing what I hear, whoever this is, constantly talks about garbage that my husband is supposed to be doing, which the singular fact that they're using him and talking negatively about him, and they have not had one thing that they've ever said to be proven. When they start talking, it's 100% bad information. There's no factual evidence at all that any of this is going on. They're only taking advantage of the brainwaves. If they can induce paranoia or excitement in you, it creates a certain type of brainwave. And which that's what they do. They're reading brainwaves. That's what they're doing. But anyway, as soon as my spouse walks out of the house, whoever this is so beside of themselves. And see, psychologically, if you know anything about somebody that gets bent out of shape when you're doing anything, in any type of positive light, they get jealous and they can't shut up about it. And the first thing they do will try to discredit you or try to switch everything around to make you look less than they want you to look. Because they can't stand anybody to have a positive reaction to you because they have it in for you for some reason. And then they need to call attention to themselves immediately because they don't want you to get any attention because it puts them in the background. Okay? And, that right there, always make note of the behaviors of the people that you hear. Because one of the main handlers that I have is just, for lack of a better term, or that this word is the most accurate word I can use, is she's pathetic. She can't stand any other female. Me, I am pro female. If you look good, if you smell good, if you sound good, if you are extraordinary, I will lift you up all day long. There is enough room for all of us here. I don't feel the need to tear other women down. I just don't. Unless there's something funny about you. Like you're known to, have behaviors that I can't be associated with. And then in which case I will withdraw my energy and you don't get any more of it. You don't even get the negative energy. You don't get any at all. So anyway, but if you pay attention to what you're hearing, mine, like I said, is the main female type. And she is so emotionally unregulated that it's exhausting to me. Because she's 100% predictable. Sometimes I do things on purpose so that she knows that she's predictable. She thinks she's in charge, but she's not. Okay? And the thing is like people that don't understand this stuff will swear that you're nuts, but all they have to do is Google the Frey effect. Google microwaves, microwave hearing. Google the U.S. using microwave hearing to make soldiers surrender, over in the Middle East. You will find that it is being used. I live near a Coast Guard base. I don't know if that's where this started, but right before this started for me, I had been in Wake Forest Hospital. And I'm not sure. I know that I live in an area where the likelihood of you getting a tumor in your brain is 300+% more likely for you to develop one here than anywhere else that you know of. This population isn't even at 20,000, and you, with a population of 100,000 people, you may have 3 people with a brain tumor. Okay, that's how rare it is. This I know of by talking to one PA, that there are 3 patients with brain tumor related doctor's visits. And that's 3, and there's not even 20,000 people here. And it's supposed to be 3 in 100,000. And the thing is, I keep checking the numbers, because I know that my information is good, but I just keep rechecking the numbers. But, do things like that, like in your community, check in on that. But please, 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 above all else, just sit back and just listen to who these people are, because there is a reason. And this isn't like that they may not be capable of doing better. They have no intellect at all. It's not low intellect. It's not high intellect. They don't have any. And when you don't have any, you can't increase it at all. You don't become abundant having 0. You know what I mean? But anyway, all they do is talk about, and this is what they do, is they try to induce my paranoia when I can't be paranoid about something that's not my responsibility. I am never going to be married to a man or be around anybody that I have to double check and see what they're doing. Especially in my circumstances. You are not a man if somebody has to come behind you and make sure you're doing what you say you're doing. And that is not the type of people that I allow in my life, because I like to elevate. I do. And these people that you're hearing don't live like that. And I know there's a, pretty significant amount of you guys that watch these videos. And, just know that if nothing else, sometimes all you can do is listen. And that's if you try to listen. You don't have to. But, just be able to set these people aside. And that's what I do, is I break her down in my head. Okay? And with me, being a minister, and I'm close to God, and I try with everything that I do to do the right thing and to have the correct attitude. But I will listen to her and I will break her down analytically in my head. I do. And she is dissatisfied. She is unregulated. She is emotional. She is desperate. And it is all bad things. And these are the type of people that use stuff like this because they aren't heard like normal people like you and I are. Nobody wants to hear what they have to say because they are the way that they are. And so this is what they resort to. And, all I can say is that, my husband goes to work and I worry about something bad happening to him. I do. But I don't worry about, if he's got any extracurricular activities. I don't think that far. I have enough going on myself. And you can tell a lot about somebody that gets upset or it doesn't sit well with them that you aren't in somebody else's business all the time. And all you have to do is absolutely nothing. Sit back and let them make a fool of themselves, because they will do it. every time. They can't help but be who they are. And it's, the thing is, you know how I know she's not involved in anything that she says that she knows about? Because she never shuts up. Never. No bathroom break, no dinners, no activities, no nothing. She is always available to run her mouth. And the thing is, you can always tell you're hearing an outside source and that you're not mentally ill or schizophrenic because you can't hear 100% of what's being said. If you were mentally ill, you'd be able to hear everything going on. But that's how you can tell it's an outside source. But this is documented by the U.S. military that they are using, direct energy weapons. They are using frequencies and microwaves on people. And the thing is they got to test it out on somebody. And now, I posted a picture of my older sister that died. And she had, you can see a laser, like somehow the camera caught where she had something pointed at her and it looked like the end of a laser and it was right here on her, above her eyebrow. That's where my brain tumor is. And this was years ago. I was just diagnosed with this brain tumor in May. And the thing is, my sister, she died a few months after that picture was taken. And now here I am 6 years later, with a massive brain tumor. It's a grade 2, which means that it's not malignant, but it's not benign either. It's right in the middle. And it has the potential to be cancerous. But the thing is, like I said, with my head pressure, that's what I have to keep control of. And I don't know. I'm just, brainstorming here. And, I have this where my hair is trying to grow back. And, the scars on my head. And I have a shunt placed and it makes the back of my head stick out in the back. And it runs all the way through my body down into my bowels. And, this is how I get to live for the rest of my life. And I'm so unbothered by this now. And I do thank God for it because I know a lot of people suffer with this. And it's much easier for people to explain away that you have mental illness or something like that. But that's not what it is. I've been depressed in different parts of my life. After I have given birth, I had separation anxiety from my little sister for a little while. But I have never, under any circumstances, hallucinated or anything like that. I have been totally intact in my head. Even with this brain tumor, I know how to keep my neurons firing in such a manner that it basically is like an aerobic workout. It keeps them strong in spite of what's going on around my brain tissue. I try to do all that I can to maintain, my brain power, whatever it takes. My body is what's suffering because I was in a bed for so long trying to get my head to heal. Now I'm having to recuperate. And now that I start radiation, I'm going to lose that too. But anyway, just always, if you hear, these people talking to you, just please understand that, clearly you are better off than they are. Okay? There is some reason they're coming after you, and they are always available to run their mouths. And nobody in the history of history has ever wanted to be around somebody like that. I make a very strong effort to love the people in my life correctly and appropriately, and to only offer love. If I feel that I can't treat you in a manner that other people can treat you, then I remove myself from the situation, because I will not use my own energy on something that isn't beneficial for anybody. You know, so I do encourage you to do what you need to do when it comes to your own health and your own safety. And just understand that these people are severely mentally ill, because nobody should ever be able to rationalize doing the stuff that they're doing and be able to lay their head down at night and to be able to get proper rest. The only people that do stuff like that, history is full of people like that, and it never ends well for them. You know, so if somebody can do something like this to somebody and sleep like a baby at night, it's because something is not right in their head. Okay? This is why it's important to keep a clear conscience. Don't do anything out of anger or out of spite. Don't get violent. Don't do things like that. Try to maintain yourself and your self-respect. And just remember that this is all being done. They're trying to get certain reactions from you because they're able to read your brain waves better. So what they're doing is trying to provoke certain emotions from you because different parts of your brain will light up. Remember that, okay? But I love you, and, you know, just hang in there. And, you know, if anybody needs to talk or you need support, I am here. And just stay strong. And one day, this will all come out, and somebody will blow all of this up, and it's not going to be good, you know. But anyway, this is how things operate for now, and we are making small steps. I did hear where a man did take somebody to court, and he actually won. Let me see. What do you call it? I can't remember what you call it, where they can't bother you, they can't come near you, a protective order. He was able to establish enough evidence to get a protective order from somebody for doing this to him. So that's an incredible breakthrough, and there are more things to come. So just keep your head up, and I love you guys.